Every week, I show you guys how to take advantage of trending structure off of these key levels and these key VWAPs. And I want to show you how to take advantage of it today, even though the 15-minute may have not been in full trend, but it could have been if you look at it here. First thing on the 15-minute side of things, we had a nice lower high and lower lows all overnight, making it seem like we might want to see more short continuation here at the open. But if you notice and really stretch it out, this is on ES. Yes, it was bearish since the nice bring down here, but we haven't been able to crack this 5660 level at all for like 4 hours. Even if you want to bring it back to like Asia session, really just sideways, kind of finding in a bottom, even though there's no VWAP below us. That we definitely want to see how today can shake out at the open. Is it going to pop higher? Is it going to continue lower? Because if we can make a new low a day, then of course I'll follow these lower highs and try to catch that next leg of trend continuation. But I don't know if it's actually trending because if we zoom on out, this is the start of the week on a Monday. Let's just take into account what happened last week. Even though there were some choppy days, we're still making higher highs and higher lows. And I said today on stream that this could want to just end up being our higher low. We don't know if it wants to pull back a little bit more and then make that higher low, but this could just be the pullback and then trend continuation back to the upside. Same thing as this is not bearish price action in a bearish trend. It is bearish price action. It's just a pullback in the bullish trend. Same thing on that. That's just a pullback to then make that next leg back into trend. So I was very hesitant on the shorts, but the longs weren't ready yet. Because if you've seen any of these videos on this channel, I cannot and should not and won't be longing it below this daily VWAP, especially when we held it nicely overnight and we've been below it all since the changeover. So not ready to trade at the open, which isn't unnormal. I always like to let that opening range set. But now let's take it to the 1 minute. So another reason why, if we take it here in the first few minutes of the open, we potentially do have lower highs and lower lows. Pretty choppy to start though. But the reason we're not seeing these lower highs as short opportunities off the New York view up looking for the downside, well, we just went over on the 15-minute. I'm not actually bearish until we get more confirmation that we can crack this 5660 level because that's where we've been holding all overnight. Sellers have been struggling to make that new low from there. So I'm going to need to show them, hey, we can, and then I'll look for more shorts after that. So that's why we're not chasing into the shorts, despite this 1 minute potentially showing you that buyers aren't in. You wait for the trend to set in, wait a little bit longer, breaks of the opening range, trade up the key levels, right? I also made a video that honestly, if it's in this range, I don't want it. I don't want to trade. I don't want to decide which way it's going to pop and hold. Let me wait and react. So that's exactly what we did on stream this morning. This is on ES. We get a new high a day, not chasing the first break outside open range high. Often doesn't sustain. And I want to make sure it's not inducement, right? Because I also don't want to be buying this potential falling knife. I want to see it start to turn off of that New York view up, my favorite level. The New York view up here in black from the 930 open and this open range high are my two favorite levels. So when we can get a break of a high day view up after retesting that New York view up, right? Because buyers show their hand here. There's our higher low. Buyers are back in. Well, there's your first long opportunity back in line potentially with the trend big picture, right? The 15-minute isn't maybe super bullish yet because that daily view up is slightly in the way, but I would like the higher time frame longs to make more sense. And we're getting a nice buyer confirmation here with bullish structure, breakout of the top, buyers are in. Just keep it simple and just read and react to the structure. Don't be trying to fade it and hope that this wants to come back lower when it's not giving you lower highs and lower lows. Read and react to the higher highs and higher lows until those disappear, right? Because I'm leaning more bullish. You can see it takes a while, but with a good stop loss, your idea is never invalidated. And what is it holding? All of this chop? Well, it's along the opening range high and well above the New York view up. So although it's not moving at your speed, buyers are in. They never gave up control. It's not showing that sellers have any more strength than the buyers do. So you just got to be patient and give it its time to work itself out. It gives you one last retest to the New York view up. And then that's the break of high day view up that's ready to pop. But it's the same exact price and idea as if you bought it here on that break, on these breaks. So it's all the same idea. We can't exactly time it. So all you have to do is just get a good price, give yourself a good stop loss to potentially hold it, and you catch the new high day back for a new leg of trend. And then we don't want to just chase higher prices because we missed this move after this consolidation. Let it make a new high because we're actually trading up to the previous day's New York view up, which could be a ceiling. Could it be broken through? It could be resistance there for sure. So I don't want to have to trade into it or right at it, I should say. But I would potentially trade to it if I can get a good risk reward level. So on this play, I don't want to really take these small pullbacks, right? This is a small pullback, maybe a break of high day view up, same as this one here, but they're not really off a level. So I have no FOMO of those, right? I could find two great buy prices here off the New York and open range high where I think the launch pad could want to happen from. So let it pull back. If you didn't capitalize on the news back here, don't just jump in at the top. Let it pull back again. Put on your high day view up when buyers are stepping back in. that's when we'll get back in long. And with a good stop loss, you give yourself a chance to ride that trend up to that previous day's New York view up. And then once it's there, I don't want to predict that buyers are going to break it or that sellers are going to reject it. I don't care. I'm getting out before that level is even hit, and then I'll react. Do we have the strength to break through it? Okay, cool. Then maybe I'll look for more longs. If we can't get through it and we reject it, doesn't just mean I sell it, because that's definitely not in the direction of trend. And we're above the New York view up. So that's going to be a very, very tough play. So it might just be a sit on your hands. One thing to maybe just hindsight bias or not to talk yourself into the longs is being that, yes, we're at this previous day's New York VWAP, but I think the higher time frame trend is bullish. So there is probably a greater chance of us breaking through it to go continue that trend back higher, as opposed to if that yesterday's New York VWAP was below us. I probably wouldn't predict that we'd break through that lower, because why are we moving lower? The trend is bullish, so there's a greater chance that would bounce there and come back higher. So on this day, when it's a bullish trend overall, you could say, yeah, well, there could be enough buyers to break through it, but I don't want to have to predict that, because that's very hindsight driven. That I could easily say that now, of, oh yeah, buyers took it easily, duh. The trend is bullish. I don't want to have to predict that, but you could put on a high day view up there, get back in when buyers step back in here, stop loss that structure, and you ride that one up for a new high day. Probably my least favorite, just because it's not off a key level. It's into a view up that definitely could have been rejected, so that would make it look like a bad trade. You just don't need that. Hopefully, you're able to capitalize on one of the three we just went over previously off of key levels. If I go to the micros here, I have it pointed out. Where's the price that pays? Off of a key level, off of a key view up, next leg of trend. So really just keeping it simple. If you didn't catch these, work on it for tomorrow. There's always going to be these retests to these key levels and key view ups. So don't feel like if you missed it, you got to just sacrifice and take something else. Always be looking for these plays and try to maximize on them, because they may not happen 5 or 6 times a day. But if it could happen 3 times and we can get one or two of them, that's all you need. We don't need to catch all of every move. And if you look in the afternoon, it actually came all the way back down, probably because it's very, very high. Another thing to point out on this 15-minute, it's an inside bar day, right? Especially on these top one futures accounts that I'm trading, trying to be even more picky, especially if I have the older rules at 50% off. So if you want an account, you could always use code Evan. But with these top one futures accounts, I'm trying to be really, really picky with them, since I have them on copier. That if we unrewind this, it's an inside bar day. Those are the toughest days to trade, that we didn't take out a previous day's high or low. So technically, whether the trend was bearish or bullish, we're not continuing it. We didn't break for a new high after a bullish structure or a new low after a bearish day. We're just stuck in between. And even the Asia range session, right? That's our high and low from pre-market. We didn't even break either side of those. So it's really choppy. We want to try to capitalize on those trending moves within a choppy day, because it may not be a lot of them, but certainly off of a key view up, off of a key level. And if you didn't make money on these days, if you're chasing those small pullbacks, or if you're trying to short it just because that 15-minute was potentially underneath the daily view up here at the open, have to learn to recognize the chop. What could be better about this? What is price telling me? It's telling me sellers cannot break this 56.60. So I probably don't want to sell into that level, because every time sellers got us down there, buyers stepped in. So is short the right play right now? As well as I would argue, well, even if shorts could have worked out, I'm not really bearish. Everything to me since last week, 2 weeks, it's all higher highs and higher lows. So all the higher probability moves are going to be back to the upside. I don't want to have to time the pullbacks and know where they're going to finish. I want to see the pullbacks finish, right? I want to see this base be set down here. Okay, this is the end of the pullback. And then I'll buy it to get the next leg back into trend, rather than trying to time how long the shorts are going to go before running out of steam. And then this afternoon, we're right back down. So really, really choppy to start the week on a Monday, and lower volatility. So maybe the sizing of contracts is going to be up, right? Not the risk that we're putting on, but today we probably only moved from top to bottom 50 points. We were getting 50-point opening ranges. So tighter stop losses, 6, 7 points, you're going to have technically more contracts on. We're not going to be really risking more cash. So at the end of the day, let's have a great week. Let's learn from these lessons of the pre-market structure, as well as on the 1 minute, how to trade off those key levels. Again, I break down all of this on AceFX TV, the view up bounce plays and the view up break plays, as well as what key levels I'm looking to trade off of. I post it almost every day, almost all these videos. The best trades are going to come off of these key levels, not chasing the higher price, letting the bigger pullbacks come in, the bigger the better, and then just look for that next leg of trend. We don't need the whole move. We don't even want the whole move, because we don't want to break that consistency rule half the time. But if we could just get 1 or 2 pieces of the trend each and every day, keep it simple, not over trade, we'll be in great shape. So if you guys found value in this video, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment. See you guys on the desk tomorrow morning.